Hello there, I'm Begalius. Hello there, I'm Begalius. That's how I should have done it. I'm Begalius. I'm going to be playing this game. I got some beef jerky. And the time is upon us for Red Dead Redemption 2. The 8-year-long wait is finally over. You do not understand how excited I am to be making this video. But I do want to talk about the game, and I do want to say this. I'm not going to make the video that I usually make and that I was planning on making, where I just talk about why this game is great and all of the features I like about it and things like that, and just do a general review. I will mention those things, but I want to tail off into a different type of video. But of course, look, this game is stunning. It's absolutely beautiful. To answer all of your questions, it's gorgeous. It looks incredible. I've heard complaints that they don't really cover as much of the kind of, cliche Wild West world, which, to be honest, I kind of agreed with initially, but the more you play it, the more that kind of world starts to unravel. And you realize that actually what's great is that they didn't just recreate the Red Dead Redemption 1 map, or just take all of those assets, take all of that Wild West dustland and just put it somewhere else. It actually explores different kinds of environments. As you can see here, there's a little more grass and, I don't know, just more, it feels more developed. And honestly, this world is so incredible. It's so huge, and somehow they've managed to build this world that's both barren and hugely interesting at every step, and I'm going to talk about that more in the future. But and little details like that, if you smack into a tree, you come flying off of your horse, and your horse falls off, and if you have something on the back, what's on the back falls off too. The attention to detail in this game is fucking unbelievable, and that's one thing that I really love about games, and that's one thing that makes a good game for me. Excuse me, got a cough and a cold. And if you find someone's house and you go into someone's house, everything's for grabs. You can steal everything they have. If it's nighttime, they're probably going to be asleep, and you can rob their house. There's just so much attention to detail. The wildlife is fucking amazing. It's everywhere, but it's not in your face and not too much. The gameplay itself is great. It's still that Red Dead Redemption 1 gameplay, but with huge improvements. And there seems to be a massive focus. Here's one question that I will answer. One bit of information that I can give you is that there seems to be a massive focus on the survival of John Marston, on just sort of putting you more in his boots. When you hunt things, you can cook it at a campfire. You have... the way that health works now is fucking brilliant. It's so you don't just regain health, but you can regain health. But you have what's called a core, and your core is your ability to regain health, and your sort of resilience to damage. Now that can be improved by eating things. When you hunt things, you have to cook it, but when you cook it by the campfire, you eat it, and that improves your core. Or you can go into someone's house and steal some, like a can of beans or a can of sweet corn or some beef. You can just literally run over a rabbit and kill that rabbit and then cook it on the campfire. Usually I hate games like this. And the same goes for the horse, by the way. Excuse me. If the horse gets dirty, you have to brush it, or its endurance isn't as good and it will get tired more easily. You have to feed it and stuff like that. Now, usually I hate this in games. One of the things I don't like about Battle Royale games is that they're too slow. Oh, look at that skybox, dude. They meander too much. By the way, just for a moment, look at the atmosphere of this scene, man. And I wasn't forced to slowly walk to this house. I just did. And that's something I want to talk about more in this video. But yeah, usually I hate that style of game. I hate the micromanagement bullshit, having to always think about stuff. I didn't like it in State of Decay, and apparently it's in that Metal Gear game. I can't think of anything worse. I hate it. Somehow it works so well in this game, you wouldn't believe it. It's just, I usually hate that shit. But it's like, you have hunger, you have to stop, you have to, in order to keep your core, you have to stop Arthur from being hungry. But to stop him from being hungry, you can just run over a rabbit, build a campsite, cook that rabbit, and then eat it, and you're fine. You can just go to someone's house. You can steal some... Sorry, I can't even think straight. You can steal some food. You can shoot down a bird, pick it up, skin it, cook it. You've got materials. You've got, food, and you could eat it. Or you could even go up to someone else's campfire. And here's the amazing thing. You can go up to someone else's campfire, eat that. I'll give you a story, actually. I shot a turkey down. It came down. I skinned it. I went to some random dude's campfire. And we sat there, and he told me stories of his hunting. I just sat there eating turkey as he told me about this panther that got away, and he's been, he killed 30 bears in 1 year once, and I came away from that, and it just felt so enriching. So the micromanagement stuff actually does work, and it all builds to this one thing that I want to talk about during this video, which is everything else aside. This, by the way, the story, the characters, all of that, phenomenal. The voice acting, there isn't a single character that you encounter in this game that isn't beautifully voice acted, particularly Arthur. And Dutch is incredible, an incredible character. So well voice acted and performed. But the big thing for me is this. I have this list, and it's so sad. It's going to seem so sad to people, but I have a list of my top 20 games ever made. Number 1 will always be Halo 3. But my number 2, and there's stuff like Dead Space 2, Portal 2, Mass Effect 2. But my number 2 game is Red Dead Redemption 1, sorry. And the reason for that is because I had a gaming experience with Red Dead Redemption 1 like none other I've ever had. I would come online and we would go up to Bear Claw Camp and just, hold off, or go find that wolf that's been eluding us for so long, that legendary wolf, and go hunt it for a few hours. And that experience was so incredible, and it was unlike anything I had experienced before. And the same went for the single player. Just being a part of that world was one of the best parts of the game, and that's because it's something that no other game has ever been for me. And it's the reason I can't get into horror films. It's honestly the reason I don't like horror films. It's because I'm usually so unable to immerse myself in a world. Even in RPGs and even things like Skyrim, I just can't. It's a game to me. It's still a game, and that's why I like, the faster games and stuff like that, because I just struggle to immerse myself in a world. Red Dead Redemption was different. I don't know if it was the map, if it was the fact that I didn't just feel like a face in the crowd, because there aren't many people in the world, and there aren't many things around you, so you don't just feel like another faceless person. You do actually feel like an important part of the world, and maybe that immersed me. So when I first saw the trailer for Red Dead Redemption 2, the sequel to my second favorite game ever fucking made, the first thing I said was, well, they need to do one thing for me to love it, and that's match that immersion, be as immersive. And what they've done here, and what has blown me away and made me so excited and so happy, is they've not just matched it, they've increased it several fold. This is the most immersive experience I've ever had in a video game in my life. As I said, I sat down with the guy and I just sat and listened to him talk about hunting things. When I went into a base, I had to get this carriage that was being pulled along by horses, but it was just stationary and the horses were just there. I walked over to the base, I spoke to the guy with a gun. I didn't have a gun in my hands, I just had a lantern as I have here, and I greeted him. I said hello. He seemed annoyed with me, like I shouldn't be there. So I antagonized him and I took the piss to the point where he came out of the base. I then pulled my knife out, killed him, came in, approached another guy with a gun, antagonized him until he shot me, which startled the horses. The horses came galloping out of the base, and then I ran out of the base, dodging bullets, jumped on my horse, got over to the carriage with the horses attached to it, and rode the horses back to the base where I needed to take it. That approach, the way that you can approach this world is just remarkable. There was another scene where, after hours of shootouts and, having to really, work, there's this celebration moment where you're part of a party and everyone's dancing around and there's a campfire and stuff like that. You can just sleep through that and then just continue on with the game. Usually, I hate shit like that. Even in Red Dead Redemption 1, I hated it. I don't even like going to real parties, dude, let alone pretending to be part of a fake one. So I usually just skip through that. Dude, I fucking sat at that campfire. I listened to people telling stories to one another with the phenomenal voice acting. I listened to them doing that. And then I went up to this woman and we danced for a bit and I spoke to her for a bit. And then I dealt with one of my friends because he was a little too drunk and I had to, go, no, dude, you have to go over here. And all of this happened in game. This wasn't a cutscene. None of this was scripted. None of what they told me to do was that. Even what I did there, even what you see in the gameplay there, I wasn't told to beat that dude up. He just pissed me off. And in games that never happens. But the guy, for some reason, him not making his loan payments. By the way, I specifically chose something that was both atmospheric but very uneventful because I didn't want to spoil too much about the game. But look at none of this is scripted. All of this atmosphere, the way that this scene looks, the fact that I just bumped into this barn is just part of the game. You know, the fact that I'm now about to set this horse free is just part of the game because the guy pissed me off. That immersion is incredible, and it's why I love this game so much. And I actually think it's an improvement on the first one. It's even better than Red Dead Redemption 1, and I love it. It's an incredible masterpiece, and I don't just recommend it. I think you're ridiculous not to buy it. It's beautiful.